Hey everyone, this is Kelsey here. I'm going to show you how to go from this, straight out of the camera, to this. It's a little anticlimactic because it has to load, but there you go. And we're going to do that in part with the free preset that I made that you just got. So congratulations on that. So here's out of camera, and one of the presets you got is called Usually Works 2019 because I'm very creative with my naming. This is what's been usually working for me so far this year. So you click on that and you can see that the highlights are a little bit blue. I did some stuff with like the shadows and whatnot to make it a little bit more film-like and dreamy. As with all presets, I will generally go over here to make some adjustments. So I'm going to bring up the contrast a little bit, maybe bring up the highlights slightly. Sometimes I'll bring the whites down. And I might do all of that, but I still want the focus on the face. So I'll often make a localized adjustment here. I'm just going to kind of breeze through this, and you can go back in time in the video if you need to. Invert that. Oh, it's a little bit too bright. I'm just going to focus more on the highlights. Bit of like a dodge and burn hack. So I want the focus to be on her face still. Great. So from here, let's bring that into Photoshop. Yeah, that already looks pretty cool. And another thing you can do in Lightroom is to take away that small blemish there with the spot removal tool. But since we're bringing it into Photoshop anyway, I can clean that up pretty quickly in there as well. This was a fun shoot. I went for like a Snow White meets Daenerys Targaryen type of situation. Awesome. Okay, great. So the first thing I'm going to do is we're going to make a copy of this layer by going Command J or Control J for all you crazy Windows people. Zoom in here. J for my heal tool. Patch is something I use quite a bit because it gives me full control over where I'm sampling from and what I'm wanting to eliminate. So I'm just going to take away some of these distractions. Often I will do some skin retouching in the form of frequency separation in Photoshop, but because this photo is pretty out of focus anyway, which weirdly I'm okay with because it kind of adds to that dreamy state, I'm not going to worry too much about making sure that the skin texture is preserved, and we're just kind of working on like a quick and dirty edit for today. That's the theme. Cool, so that's good enough for now. I always say that and then I do a few more. So bear with my perfectionism. Okay, great. So you can see it's pretty subtle, but kind of clean things up a little bit. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to be doing some dodging and burning. And I like to do that on faces like this and objects that are side lit. Split lighting like this is so pretty to me, so I just want to accentuate that. And there's many ways to do dodging and burning with a curves adjustment, with certain different like layer transparencies and things like that. But because the theme of the day is quick and dirty, we're going to go the most destructive way possible just for fun. So I'm going to go over here to my Dodge, Burn, and Sponge tool. I'm going to go to Dodge. Make sure that your Protect Tones is checked up here, and your exposure is pretty low, like that's about right. I'm going to target my midtones, and my plan here is to just paint over top of any existing highlights. That way, it's believable. And as I'm painting, I know that I'm doing it right when it doesn't feel like I'm doing that much. This is one of those things that when you first start out, it could be a little bit difficult because you kind of want to overdo it. And I'm just going on highlights all over the place here. So right above the lips, these are called the Cupid's bow. If you're good at makeup, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And the bigger your brush is, the softer the edge will get. And then in the middle of the eyeballs, as well as right underneath the eyebrow. And then not just the face, but also the rest of the body. So any areas that are already kind of lit up. And then details as well. So we can kind of like paint along this funky crown here to really like make it pop. Becca made this crown. Pretty impressed with that. It's pretty crafty. And then on hair of all colors, anytime there's like a little bit of like a gleam, you can kind of make it look a little shinier. Give it a bit of a pop. Great. So let's just toggle that off and on and see. So you can see it's super subtle, but it does kind of add a little bit of something, something. Then we can do our dodging, our burning, and we can either make another layer for that and then paint through that layer if we overdo it, which is common, or, because we're super distracted today, maybe that's just my mood, I'm just going to do it right on the same layer here. And same kind of thing, I'm painting where it's naturally dark already. So it's kind of like selective contrast. Anywhere it was naturally dark is going to allow me to really bring those features out, especially on eyelashes and things like that. So eyelashes or like dark eyebrows kind of accentuates makeup. And then under the lips kind of mimics a kind of heavy lower lip shadow, kind of makes the lips look larger. Let's have a look at what we've done there. There we go. All right, so you can see it before and after, dodging and burning, very cool. Now, what else can we do? I like to sharpen things quite a bit to really add that detail. So I'm going to do an overall unsharp mask. Where are you? So I want this like fur to feel like you can kind of reach out and touch it. So you can see it saved for my last thing here. I'm not shy to like super sharpen something, especially when it's a little bit blurry like this. Cool. And then at the very end, sometimes I'll add a little bit of selective contrasting, which you can also do in Lightroom. Sometimes I'll finish up these steps in Lightroom, but since we're already here, just kind of subtle like that, and then I'll go Command-I or Control-I, which will invert that mask. So nothing's actually happened, but I've got it all prepared for myself here. And use my brush tool to paint back where I would like that contrast. My brush is at 70% opacity about, so that's pretty good. And then I can just basically paint where I want like a little extra oomph. Great. And you can also paint this on details as well. Looks really good on veils and things like that. Awesome. So that's just a little bit extra oomph there. And then finally, let's add a flare, because I really love flares. So we're going to create a new layer. Just like dodging and burning, there's many, many different ways to add flares. One quick and dirty way I like to do it is with this gradient tool here. And by default, it will go to transparency, which is what we want, and we want the one that's kind of like a horizontal thing, not a radial filter or anything like that. And we'll select a color, something kind of warmer. If you want, you can also like sample it directly from the scene so it kind of matches a bit better. Usually I'll go for like a lighter color and just like kind of drag it pretty long and see what happens with that. And then I'll do another one on top of that with a bit more of the color that I want. You can sample from around there. I kind of want this one to be a little more purpley, darker purple, like a lilac or something. Yeah, that's cool. So with flares, if the light is emitting any type of color, it's going to be more concentrated at the epicenter. So that's why I do the lighter kind of whiter color first. And then if I want even more, I can keep dragging, knowing that I'm doing it on this layer, and I can lower that layer. You can do different colors on different layers too if you like. And then from here, you can change your blending mode. And the new Photoshop will actually show you preview of that, which is pretty badass. Usually like soft light or hard light, and some of these are pretty nice. Linear light's a favorite of mine as well. So just go down like that. Cool. And that is that. And you can save that. And it will pop up in Lightroom at some point. It takes a little bit longer when I'm screen recording. So once it pops up, let's pretend it's this one because I already did this one. I actually did this tutorial just now, but I forgot to record my voice, and I was like, well, that's not going to be very helpful, so I should do that again. Really wants to give us that one we just did though. I'm going to show you how to use the black and white preset. Okay, great. So first we'll look at the before and after because that's always fun. We'll reset that. So this is straight out of camera, and this is after the Lightroom preset and Photoshop techniques that we went over. Boom. Now what I like to do is make a virtual copy of this if I want a black and white version. So Command quotation or Control quotation. And this is the other preset that you have, is the black and white, dark and moody. So I just click on that and give it a sec to apply. And then sometimes I'll make adjustments over here, but I kind of like the way that looks, so I'm happy with that. Awesome. Well, I hope you guys got something out of this, and I look forward to seeing your Usually Works 2019 masterpieces.